Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, and double honors to the elders and apostles from Apostle Hart on down, and peace and blessings to the elect. So this is your brother Samat coming to you again with another lesson. And the title of this lesson is going to be something around the lines of the Lord is cutting the time short, so get right, so something like that. But you get the point. Time is speeding up, Me and my brother was talking earlier today, and he was like, "Yo, one thing about the Lord and His truth," he said, "the scriptures is real. The Lord really speeding up the time." And it was pretty much just going on how it's Thursday today, but we felt like just yesterday was Monday, but it was 4 days ago. So this goes to show you that time is speeding up. And I told him, I said, "Yo, I feel like it was just January, like a month or two ago, but it's been almost 7 months. You know what I mean? We're already more than halfway through this year. It's crazy." So, the Most High's not playing. And even when you just look even further back, COVID, that was 2020. It's 2026, bro. It's about to be 2027. It feels like we were just preaching and prophesying during COVID, like 2 years ago, but it's been almost 7 years. So the Most High is making a statement, and He's letting you know that His return is closer than we think, yo. And we just got to endure. We just got to continue to endure. Keep it simple. Take care of yourself. Do what you got to do to get your mind right, bro, and endure. Stay the course. That's what you should be focusing on right now. Nothing else matters. You got any personal endeavors and ventures going on? Cool. If it's going to get in the way of you maintaining your walk in this truth, you need to get rid of it, or stop it or halt it or pivot into something else. You know what I mean? If it's going to stop you from doing this work, if it's going to stop you from going to camp, if it's going to stop you from praying, if it's going to stop you from reading, if it's going to stop you from doing your lessons, if it's going to stop you from thinking about the Lord, you need to put it aside, yo. We are too close to the end to start growing weak. We need to be growing strong. The house of Saul waxed weaker, but the house of David waxed stronger. We want to be of the 144,000, right? Which is the house of David, right? It's likened to the house of David. So we want to be as David. We want to be as gods, as the angel before us, right? We want to be of that number, so we have to endure. We do a good work, and we shall receive a good reward if we endure. So let's go ahead and start with the first precept, right? Very simple, Matthew 24 and 22. And I'm going to read down. It says, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Then if any man say," I think that's the point. We're going to go here. All right, so except those days be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. That's why the Most High is speeding up the time. Because He realizes that this world is polluted, right? Micah 4:1, if I'm not mistaken. This world is polluted, right? This is not our rest. All right? It will destroy us with a sword of destruction. That's why the Most High makes it very clear that He has to shorten these days. Because if you read further down in Matthew 24, it's when it goes into how if they could, they would deceive the very elect. You know what I mean? So with all this new technology, AI, Project Bluebeam and all this stuff, especially AI ramping up so crazy, it just came out of nowhere. It's hard to believe anything. You see any video, it's AI. If it's unpredictable, if it's unbelievable, it's AI. And a lot of times it is AI, but sometimes it's real. So people are not going to be able to know what's real and what's fake. So they're going to, on video, you know what I mean? They're going to, they can create false flags, false attacks, and incriminate and persecute the Israelites. They don't even have to really use a scapegoat nowadays anymore. They could just create a false person, create a video. It's as simple as this. You don't even have to get a scapegoat anymore. You can create a video that has, with AI, with fake people, fake civilians, create an event to happen, and then utilize these mainstream news sources to push this word out, to push out the propaganda. And there you go. People will buy into it but nobody's going to have personal experience with witnessing. Like, yo, I was there, I saw it. But everyone's just going to see it and be like, damn. But then you can have bots that goes on to comments on Instagram and Twitter and be like, yo, I was there, it was crazy. But it's really a bot. That's the world we live in. So these days have to be shortened, bro, or no flesh shall be saved, man. You know what I mean? Like, Esau will persecute and kill all the Israelites, man. And then you'll have a lot of brothers growing weak. Not because their brothers are weak, but because we're in the flesh. You know, brothers will start getting sick and you know what I mean, getting ailments, and this world will destroy you, bro. It's only getting worse. So we got to make sure we maintain our integrity and our convictions, bro. We just focus and lock in on the Lord. You know, should be praying. You know, you should be praying. Should be doing everything you need to. Now's the time to really. It's the fourth quarter, bro. It's time to lock in. Fight camp. You know what I mean? We 1 week out. So we have to be dialed in and focused in our walk. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever things you need to fix, you fix. You know, I know for myself, bro, it's a constant battle, bro. You know what I mean? I am my worst enemy. 100%. Spirit versus the flesh. Every day is a fight. Every day is a battle. It's not going to be easy. It never is easy. It's an uphill battle. But you know what? At the end of the day, it makes you stronger. Your legs hurt, but you pushing through. But at the end of the day, bro, it's all for the development of our spirit and our character, so that when the Most High gives us that blessing, you know what I mean, we felt like we earned it. Romans 8:18 states that the sufferings that we go through in this world, they're not going to be worthy to be compared to the glory that we're going to get. So this is nothing, bro. It's a light affliction. So we endure it. We get through it, bro. But, you know, you got to continue to work. You got to labor. You got to make sacrifices. You just got to stay consistent, stay focused. That's really it. Endure. It's as simple as that. The easiest way to stick to anything, it's easier said than done, but I think this is the most effective way to remain consistent is when you change your mentality, right? And by changing your mentality, what you do is you change your identity. All right, you put on the identity of the person you want to be, the habits you want to obtain. You know, that's essentially what you do. So you think about the person you want to be, right? I want to be like this, right? Whatever, mind, body, spirit, you know. Then you have to think about, okay, what are the habits? What are the traits? What are the hobbies of that person? What do they do in their downtime? How do they handle conflict? So on and so forth, right? You get what I'm saying. When you identify those things, you just have to start to do those things. You have to start. You have to deny yourself. That's the biggest thing. Like, you have to deny yourself. Your flesh is going to want to chill. Your flesh is going to want to doom scroll. Your flesh is going to want to not work out or eat some sugar, and you're going to fall. You're not always going to get it right, but if you majority of the time can get it right, eventually what's going to happen, you'll just lock in, bro, to the point where you start to lose interest in the things that you once overindulged in, you once were addicted to. But you have to get through the rough patch or the rough period of denying yourself, and then it becomes autonomous at that point. You know what I mean? And just look at your life. I mean, just look at self-examine for a moment, right? Look at something in your life that has changed over the course of the years you've been in this truth. Look at the kind of man that you were before this truth, and look at the kind of man you are now. I think that the easiest thing for us, and I think I can confidently speak for most, if not all, Israelites. I don't believe most of us struggle, and this is for you sincere brothers and sisters. I don't think that we struggle with the dietary law. I've never really heard of any Israelites struggling with the dietary law. I've heard of brothers struggling with weed addictions, alcohol addictions, sex addictions. I've heard of brothers struggling with doing their lessons, staying in the spirit, like reading and watching videos and just being in the spirit throughout the day. I've heard of brothers struggling with all those things. I've never once heard of any brothers saying they struggle with eating pork or struggle with eating shrimp or shellfish, any of that sort. Never heard a brother say they struggle with that. So look at it like that. Let's use that as an example. But you can use this for any aspect of your life. Self-examine. Look at the dietary law and look at how simple and easy it was for you to, or you had to go through that period because you may have been somebody who loved shellfish. Maybe the beginning period of your truth, the first few months, first year or so, you kind of struggled with, you wax and lean maybe here and there, or you kind of, or even if you just didn't eat it, you missed it, you thought about it, you craved it, but you just feared the Lord. You were so eager and knew the truth. And then guess what happens? It became autonomous. Now you don't even think about eating it. Now you don't even miss it. You don't desire it. You see it, it disgusts you because you understand what it does to the body. You understand that it's an abomination unto the Lord. It's against our law. So apply that same thing to everything in your life. All your bad habits, because we all have bad habits. We all have vices. Every last one of us. You'd be a liar if you say you didn't. Even if your vice or bad habit isn't necessarily a sin, I can guarantee you, to you, there's something about yourself that you do not like, that you do, that you find hard to stop doing. Something. There's always something. Work on it. But if it is going off and against the law and it's something that you can control, but you just struggle with controlling, you need to get it together. We're not going to be able to keep the law 100%. We are in captivity. We are in Esau's kingdom. So a lot of Esau's ways and lifestyles and cultures affect us to the point where we cannot keep our law 100%. That's why we're not judged by our keeping of the law. We're judged by our faith. We do what we can. We control what we can. And we pray and hope that our Yahawah's blood covers us for what we cannot. Very simple. But we do what we can. We stay in the spirit. We pray to the Lord. And we give our sacrifices daily. Let's go ahead and grab 1 Corinthians 7. And I'm going to start at 29. But I say this, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. All right. Not saying that if you do have a wife, cast her out. No, but that's not your focus. Your woman is not your priority. All right. Contrary to what they say in the world, oh, your wife is your number one priority. No, your wife is a priority, right? Because she is your responsibility. She's your rib. She's your helpmate. But your number one priority is and will always be YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi. And if you got a sincere woman, she'll understand that. But you also got to remember, having the Lord as your priority by default means that your woman is well taken care of. By default. So, very simple stuff. Your priority is always the Lord. You're not going to do anything that goes against the will of the Lord. You're not going to put off things that you know you need and should be doing for the Lord for your woman. It's not happening. Your woman have to understand. You come after. I mean, if I have time to get with you before, because maybe you have camp planned at a certain time or a study session at a certain time, you can either say, baby, we can link before or after. Simple as that. I'm just, as an example. But that goes for a lot of different things. Verse 30 says, and they that weep as they weep not, they that rejoice as they rejoice not, they that buy as they possess not. Very simple, all right? So nothing matters, bro. Joy, sorrow, none of it matters. All that really matters is what we're doing right for the Lord. All right? Being of a broken and contrite spirit, being remorseful, repenting, and desiring the Lord's kingdom, righteous kingdom. Simple. Verse 31 is the point. And they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. All right, we use the world, we don't abuse it. Very simple. We have hobbies, we have interests, we have desires, we have pleasures, we have pastimes. All those things are fine. The Lord made this earth for pleasure. Pleasure is good when it's controlled. Pleasure becomes bad when it controls you or when it's uncontrollable, right? When all you do is desire pleasure. You don't make any sacrifices or you don't deny yourself anything. You choose pleasure continually to the point where it's to a fault, or it is unlawful pleasure. Very simple. So, the time is short. All right, this world is passing away, bro. So you also got to understand what manner of conversation should you be, right? That's what I thought I had that one, but it says basically what manner of conversation should you be in? All holy conversation. The conversation goes into your conduct. You got to be in good conduct, bro. You gotta conduct yourself right. Be a light. Let your light shine. All right, and it's very simple, bro. The Lord will delight in your walk, right? That's what matters the most. These videos and these lessons, this is only a small percentage of what really matters. Because you can do these lessons and you can go out and camp for all the wrong reasons and the rest of your life is in shambles. But majority of the time you spend in your walk is outside of these lessons. 90%, 95% of your life is spent outside of the lessons. So that's what the Lord's going to judge you on. That's what the Lord's going to judge you on. You living like a nigga, you living like you in the world, you living like you don't care about the Lord, you don't think about the Lord, but you just throw out your lessons just to say you do it to appease your camp head or whatever, so they can get off your back, and then you come to camp just so you could, maybe you just love the camaraderie or something. I don't know. Who knows? So, yeah. It's time to lock in. I'm going to get this last scripture and leave it here. I ain't want to make it too long. It says, Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 5:7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Okay? Don't make no tarry. Don't delay because the Lord's not delaying his coming, so therefore we shouldn't delay our getting right. From this, listen, tomorrow doesn't exist. Yesterday never happened. Only thing that matters is right now. Focus on the now. What are you doing now for the Lord? Okay, you did a lesson yesterday, or you went out to camp yesterday, or you did something super spiritual yesterday. That's great and all. It's not here. It never happened, essentially, because all that matters is right now. Because you could have did a great work yesterday and you did a terrible work today. Willfully. Consciously. With no remorse. So guess what? Yesterday doesn't exist. Never happened. Doesn't matter. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Oh, I'm going to get right tomorrow. You know what? Tomorrow I'm going to do it fast. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Tomorrow isn't promised. What are you doing right now? That's what we need to focus on. Right now, the moment. And when you live in the moment, you have more peace, bro. Like, it's a simple stoic practice. Like, your past essentially is a lesson. You learn from it. It happened. It's over. We don't dwell on it. We don't think about it. But when we come into certain situations, we know how to handle ourselves because of the mistakes that happened in the past. But you don't necessarily have to think about the past, because now your lifestyle shows, like, this is what I'm doing now to avoid that situation. Simple. What matters is now. Live in the moment. It's a simple stoic practice to give peace. When you have peace, you have more of a clear mind. You don't think about the past. You don't think about the future too much. Yeah, but prudent man look well to what's going. You got to be circumspect. You got to think a little bit about the future, but never obsess over it. You plan for the future, but you live for the day. If that makes sense. You do certain things that set you up for the future, right? For the next day, for the next week, for the next month or year or whatever, but not in an obsessive manner, not in a worldly manner how these people do it. They obsess over it. They live after it. We focus on the now. And that's how we should live. And keep it very simple, bro. Because at the end of the day, we want the mercy of the Lord, so we always got to pray for it all the time. So, Lord willing, this video is edifying. I'll leave it off there. Until next time, shalom.